Hello all, welcome back to Learning Partner. If you are new, please do subscribe. This is another channel where you can directly connect with me. We have around 1,000 plus members already who are working. We take live coding sessions and everything. To just get notified about those sessions, please do join this group. Fine. So this is another video where we are going to do Angular plus .NET API application. So the topic which we are going to select or the project, it will be a doctor appointment app. So you might have somehow used some application where you can book the appointment whenever you have to visit the hospital. Again, this system like appointment thing, again, it's like a ticketing tool or something. Wherever we have a queue and we want to wait, so there are so many places where this kind of applications are there. Name can be anything, but I'm just for taking a reference, I'm considering doctor appointment app. But same concepts are being used in so many different applications. Fine. Now Angular 19 will be using .NET Core API. Again, if you have seen my previous video where we have created inquiry apps, so same project I'm using, because this basic thing, I will just explain what we have to do in the start. I will be creating again projects again and again. So that part you can just take a reference of that. Fine. Then, so we have to, let's consider, again, this is like so many small companies are having product only for doctor appointment, and they are doing good also. So it's the actually working prototype which you can, let's say you think to create a application like this, and you can sell it also, and you can earn money also from the client. Fine. So it's actually a good idea which can help to generate some revenue also. Fine. So for this video, what we are going to do, we are going to consider, like, let's say we have a client, and for that client has a hospital and he needs a booking system. Currently, what is happening? Patients are coming and they register their name on a paper and pen, right? Instead of doing that, what I need a system where my assistant will be creating an appointment of the patients who are coming, and one by one, I will be resolving them. So I can have a daily track of like what are the how many patients I'm taking daily, what's the amount I'm collecting, everything. So just a basic thing. Obviously, in an actual application, there might be so many things, right? Customer can also do the booking, doctor can see that booking, everything. Again, once doctor is seeing the booking, he can provide the prescription in that appointment only. So he don't have to write everything on the paper and pen. In the customer login only, he can see everything. So many different things can be there. But again, like uh, already APIs also I have to cover, and .NET Angular part also cover. So I have to limit those things. So we'll be creating API project. So API project is already created. Database we will create. API part, we have to write all the APIs. Angular project and integrate whatever the APIs we are creating in the Angular. Fine. Now, so let me just quickly show you like how do you need to do that. So just open a Visual Studio, just install the latest version, whatever you want to, either 19 or 22, you can go. So what you need to do, click on create new project, and what you need to search over here, API. So the first template, ASP.NET Core API, this template you need to click on, just click on next, and it will create a project. Select a particular folder where you want to keep the project. Once you create the project, then you will get a basic structure. Inside that app setting, you have to add a connection string, and inside that connection string, you need to add the default connection string, whatever the connection string, database connection string that I'm connecting to my local database. So this is my server name. This was the database. Fine. Just like this, I'm going to create one more. Wait, why we are getting error over here? This was completed over here. Missing member name. Fine. Okay. So this was a connection string for my inquiry DB. Just like that, I will be creating one more connection string. What it will be? Appointment con. Just a name I am giving, appointment con. Fine. And in the database, I will be creating the database with this inquiry. Instead of inquiry, I will say appointment DB. Fine. Now, after that, I have created, wait. Something is wrong. This is an empty project. Why it is empty project? Let me just check quickly. So sorry, with the same name, I had two different projects. So this is not the project we have to follow. Let me close it. Fine. So this is the project. Let me close everything. Then I will explain again. So once you create the basic project, you don't have this model folder. Fine. So in app.setting.json, here you will be adding your connection string. Just like you can see inquiry con I have added. I will be adding one more connection string that will be, let's say, mm, appointment on, and database I will be creating is appointment DB. Fine. Then you have to create a DB context class. So currently, in the previous video, we have completed inquiry application. So for that, I have created inquiry DB. So inquiry DB context class is just a representation or a replica of your database. Fine. After that, you will be creating the models which are going to be connected with your table like this. See? And these models you have to register as a DB set in your DB context class. Fine. Then you can create a controller, and in that controller, you will be writing the API. Apart from that, I have added CORS also because we are going to consume this API into Angular. So we have to enable the CORS also. By default, localhost 4200 we have allowed, and use cars we have to see. Fine. And that connection string, we are reading it over here. For we are connecting our DB context class, inquiry DB context class with this connection string. Fine. Now, just to start our doctor appointment booking application, first thing, we have to complete the database. Fine. So let's connect to the database. So this is my local SQL Server database. Let's explore. Let's create a new database. Okay, appointment DB name, I already have it. I might have created in previous. Let's say doc appointment DB. Fine. So the name of the database which I'm giving is doc appointment DB. Let's click on add. So you can see it has created a database. Now let's create a table. So now when we say appointment system, when we have to create an appointment system, obviously there will be patient and there will be appointment. So just two tables for starting. Okay. So first table I will be creating, that will be patient. So patient ID. This will be my primary key. So data type will be integer, allow null. I need to make it primary key, and I need to make this table primary key as an identity also. Fine. Then patient name, it will be varchar. I will go with 50. Then mobile number, varchar max 10 digit we can have. So varchar max 10 digit, and it is also mandatory. So an email, let's say email, varchar. So email, we can say not every patient will provide you the email. So this is optional. So you just have to check it. So means this is, we are allowing null data over here. This is optional. These three are mandatory. Then city, varchar. Let's say I want city to be optional, mandatory, and address. Fine. So address we can keep maximum. Let's say 1000 character data he can provide, and that is also mandatory. So only email is optional. Fine. So this is my patient table. So let's save it. So patient. Okay. So patient table is created. After that, we need to create appointment table. Fine. So right click, new table. Now appointment ID. This is also my primary key, integer. Primary key we need to specify, an identity. Then patient ID. Like this is the appointment table, right? So which patient appointment we are taking. So patient ID, we will have it over here. This is a foreign key. Fine. Then date, on which date appointment is there. Instead of date, now let's make it appointment date. Date time. Fine. Then here we got appointment ID, patient ID, appointment date. But let's say customer patient came and he's waiting, and once the doctor has seen that patient, we need one flag so that we can know like this appointment is done. So we will say is done. So boolean means bit. So, fine. So these are the things we are going to have in our appointment table. Or let's say if I need to enter the fees also, what fees I have received. So fees also I can take double, sorry, float we have to say. Fine. So let's say fees, we have to keep it as optional. So we can make it optional also. Let's save this table. So appointment, save. So we have created our two table, patient table and the appointment table. Fine. Now, as the table is created, we have now again existing project I'm going to use. So now, just like inquiry DB, we have to create our another DB context class. So that will be appointment DB. So right click class. So the name will be appointment DB context. Context. Fine. Now we have to override this class with our DB context. So DB context. Then it should provide the suggestion. Why it's not providing the suggestion? Yeah. See, entity framework core. Fine. Then we have to create the constructor of this. So let me just copy paste the things. So this I need to copy. I will paste it. This thing I have already covered in the previous video. So just make sure you watch it for the first time so that you won't feel lost. Okay, what I am doing. So now, so DB context class we have created. Now, if we, after creating a DB context class, we have to go to our program.cs, and here we need to add the reference of it. So again, I need to copy this, paste it over here. Now what I'm doing, this DB context class, I'm connecting with my connection string, that is appointment con. So this we need to specify over here. What's the DB database name? Let's just copy one more time. This is our database name. So this will go over here in the database. Fine. So what I have done, I have created table. After that, database name, I have added it over here in the connection string. Then I created one more DB context class. In that once after the DB context class in program.cs, I have connected my DB context class with the connection string. Fine. Now let's close everything after that. So in DB context class, either I can create a separate model also, or after this class, I can create the model. So what I will do, I will create class over here. Class. So first class I will be creating is for patient. So let's get the table name, that is patient. Sorry, patient, P-A-T-I-E-N-T. I made the spelling mistake. Let me just correct it. Fine. So table name I have created. Now I will create the class with the same table name. Fine. Then properties we will need prop. So let me just copy paste. So sorry. Whenever we copy paste now, we have to be very careful. Now, so patient ID. So let's copy paste, or you can copy all this in one go and paste it over here. And you just need to change the properties. Patient ID will go over here. Patient name, it has a data type string, so we have to go with string. Then mobile number, email, city, let's copy, and address. Fine. So again, these properties will be string only. Only patient ID is our integer. Then again, patient ID is our primary key and identity also. So here, key attribute we need to add. Then database generated, option dot identity. Fine. We are saying like patient ID is my primary key and it is identity also. So same thing we have to provide it over here. Is equal to string dot empty we need to specify. Fine. So this is our table. Now this class, what's the model? What it is saying? Oh, capital small case. So let's make it capital case patient. Now if we are changing the class name, now here we have to specify the table name. This also I have already explained. So here our table name is patient in small case. Fine. Let's copy this and let's paste it again. Now we have to create a model which will be connected with our appointment table. So let's get our appointment table name. So this table name will go over here. Appointment. Fine. So over here now we need the properties of the appointment table. So these are the properties. Let's copy. Let's paste it over here. So primary key is appointment ID. Then patient ID, this will be also integer. So let's copy it, paste it. Then we have appointment date, that will have a data type date time. So date time, we don't need it over here. Then is done, this will be boolean. So bool, and last one fees. So that was float. So over here it will be double. Fine. So what we have done, whatever the tables we have created related to that, we have created our models also. Just a replica of that table. What are the properties, data type, and everything. Now, if you see in our patient table, only email ID was mandatory. Remaining things were only email ID was optional. Remaining things are mandatory. So let's add that also. So above the property name, we have to add square bracket required. Fine. Just like that, everywhere apart from email, we have to say like these are the fields required, so that validation will trigger from over here. In appointment also, patient ID is also mandatory, this is also mandatory, and this is also mandatory. Only fees is optional. If you see over here, fees is optional. Fine. So we have created our model with data attributes. So whatever we have added it over here now, we can say this is data annotations. So you can see schema data annotation. So this required and everything, it is coming from this. Fine. So in now these models are connected with our tables. Now this model we have to specify over here as a DB set. So public wait, something is wrong. What I did wrong. Okay, sorry, I'm writing in the constructor. Public DB set. See, it is providing IntelliSense also. Again, public. Second table is our patient. So patient will go over here. Then we just add S so that we can know like it's an object, getter setter. Fine. So see, we have created two models. First, we have created table, then we have created models of those table. Correct? And then those models we have added in as a DB set in our DB context class. Basic work is done. Now we can jump to the controller. So right click on the controller, add new controller I'm adding. API, select the API, we are going with the empty controller, or we can go with the model way also, means all the code will be automatically created, but we don't have to go with that, because if you are selecting, because you just have to click it and you will select it, all the basic CRUD API will be automatically written by this way, but we are going with empty because we need to understand and how APIs are written, that we need to know. On click of add, it will ask us the controller name. So let's say appointment. Let's click on add. Now, so we have created our controller. Now inside this controller, we have to inject our DB context class. So how we do that? So let me just copy. So again, like these things I have already explained. So that's why I'm not again repeating. So this is appointment DB context class object we need to create over here. And this is the class name. Fine. Now, so we need to enable the course policy also. So enable course. And what's the policy name? In program.cs, the policy name is allow course. So this policy name will go over here. Fine. Now, so our controller is ready. Now inside this controller, we are going to need the APIs. So we have two tables, patient table and the appointment table. So consider like we want, why do we need softwares? So user, whoever is going to use this application, he should be use that application very properly without any doing extra effort. He should be doing it properly. So what we will be having, so we will have a single form, appointment form. In that form, we will have a patient detail also and the appointment booking detail also, because we cannot have a separate form to create customer first, then in the appointment booking we can have a drop down, because it's unnecessary work, right? So in a single form we will have a patient form also and a appointment form also. If patient is already there, if we provide a mobile number, it should fetch all the data of the patient. If it is new, we will create it. Fine. So first, create appointment API we are going to create. But in that API, as I said, from that single API, we are going to first create the customer, patient, and after creation of the patient, we are going to do the booking of the we are going to insert data into appointment table. So from a single API, we are going to insert data into both the table. So now we will write the method. So public, let's go with action result. It will be create new appointment. Fine. Let's add the route name also. Create new appointment. This is going to be a post API. So HTTP post. Fine. Now over here, we are going to get, we should, over here, this is the post API. So obviously we will need the object, right? So what type of object? So if you see our appointment DB, so here we have the patient detail and here we have the appointment detail. So as I said, from a single API, we are going to insert data into both the table. So now here we are going to create a view model, a model which will contain properties from patient as well as from appointment. Fine. So public class new appointment model. This is kind of a view model. So basic definition of view model is a class which is not connected with your database. It's just a simple class and which we use to carry out this kind of operation. Fine. So now from patient, we need patient name, email, and the address. These things we need, and patient ID also we will need. So let's add it over here. Fine. Again, we need the appointment ID. We won't be needing, just patient ID also we won't be needing because we already have it over here. Just appointment date and is done. That is also not needed because when we are, or let's add it also, or let it be appointment date. Fine. So you can see I have created a new class where I have the properties of both the table, both the models, patient and the appointment also. Now I will get the data of type this model from the UI over here like this. Fine. Now, so first thing, we have to create the customer, or before creating customer also, first we need to check like whatever the mobile number customer is saying, patient is saying, is patient data is already there in my database or not. If it is there, I won't create new patient. But if it is the new patient first time visited, I have to insert the data. So how do we do that? So is patient exist is equal to underscore context dot patient dot single or default. We are checking if the custom patient is already there or not. So let's say we will think like mobile number is something unique. So m dot mobile. Wait, mobile number is not there. We forgot to add the mobile number. In database, we forgot to add the mobile number. Sorry, in the model. Let me just copy paste. What's the mobile number column? Mobile number. This will go over here. That is also required. So let's add required attribute. Fine. Now over here, mobile number should come. Fine. Is equal to obj dot mobile. Okay. In this also we need to add it. So this property will go over here also. Fine. So here we are checking if whatever the mobile number we have received, is it already exist in our database or not. So if is patient is equal to null means we don't have this patient. This is the new patient. First time he visited our hospital. So we now, if it is null, we have to create new patient object and we have to insert into the data. So now this is another model. Now we have to create an instance of this model that is patient. So let's create a class of object over here. New patient. New. Fine. Now over here, we need the details. So you can see it is also providing the IntelliSense, whatever the properties we have like this. Patient ID, we don't have to specify because that is primary key. By default, it will be provided, created in the database. Fine. So underscore DB context dot patients dot add and the new patient. See, because from the API, from the object, we are getting a different model. So we are creating an object of patient and that we are passing it over here. Then underscore context dot save changes. This line will actually insert the data. This object, we are passing it to be getting stored into the database. So over here, we have created a patient. Okay. After that, so here we have to insert the data. Now patient is created. Now we have to create the appointment. So again, appointment class object also we need to create. So this is this appointment underscore new appointment is equal to new appointment like this. Now over here, we need the patient ID. So patient ID, we will get it over here in new patient dot patient ID. Whatever the recent created customer patient ID is there, na, so that we are passing it over here. Then appointment date. So whatever the date we get from the object. So object dot appointment date. So from this object, from the UI, we are going to get the appointment date that we are going to pass it over here. Then is done. So by default is done should be false because I'm creating an appointment now. So how is done should be by default false. And appointment ID we don't need to send. Fine. And fees, instead of passing empty, we can say null over here. We will pass null value. It is allowing not null because we said double. Okay. So now one more thing. So double is a means fees. Sorry. So fees is optional. It is not mandatory. So we have to make this property as nullable. So how do we do that? So nullable. And inside that we have to specify our data type. So we are saying like fees can be null. We are making that property nullable. Okay. Now we don't need to pass it. So appointment class object is created. Now we have to save it underscore context dot appointment dot add. What you will add? Underscore appointment, new appointment. And then underscore context dot save changes like this. Okay. So see what we are creating over here. First, we are checking if patient already exists or not. Okay. If patient with this mobile number already exists, we will get his data and patient ID also we will get. Okay. Then if patient is not null, means the mobile number provided, the patient is already there, so it will go to the else block. So now in else block, we just need this piece of code. And here patient ID we will get it from the database. So this I will use it over here like this. So see, this if block is for new patient and this if block is for existing patient. Again, one more thing, we need like with we can say for every appointment we need to create something unique, number or token number something. So what we can do for that, we will need a logic like for particular day, from every day we need to start something unique like patient token number 1 2 3 from start, right? So for that, how we will write the logic? Let me or what we will do first, we will complete the basic thing, then we will complete that. So now here we have to return okay, and we will say message also we have to pass. First object we will pass which object we will pass? Let's pass the message only. Appointment created. Fine. So this is very basic API to create the appointment. Now we will need one more API to show the list of the appointment also. Correct? So let's write public action result, that will be get all appointment round bracket curly bracket enter. So again this will be get method. Let's add the route name. Instead of HTTP post, it will be get method. Now here we have to return all the appointments. Fine. So but in appointment table we have, what do we say? In appointment table we have appointment data also, but patient data is in another table. So now we have to get the data from two different tables. So we will need the join. Fine. So we have to join both the table and then we will return the specific data. Okay. So let me just get the join code. Okay. So now over here, we need to write the join code. So let's start writing. Just a minute. So where list is equal to round bracket from, let's say, first table which we have to join is the appointment. Appointment in underscore context dot appointments. Over here, join. We will join this with patient in underscore context dot with patient table. On, now we have to specify like which from appointment and the patient, which properties we have to compare. So from appointment dot patient ID equals patient dot appointment patient ID. So property from appointment dot patient ID will be equal to patient dot patient ID. Fine. Then we will need the select clause, new curly bracket, and after this round bracket we will need dot to list like this. Fine. Now here we have to create the properties what we are going to return. So let's say patient name is equal to, so patient name we will get it from over here. So patient dot patient name. Let me just copy paste. Then we will just get whatever the field we need. So patient name will go over here. Then mobile number from patient. Then city we will need. So city again from the patient we will need. Then we will need appointment data. So now appointment ID. I am getting error. Somewhere we did wrong. Appointment dot appointment ID we will pass, because primary key obviously we need to send. Then let's copy paste this appointment over here, date, and is done, like appointment is done or not. Let's change the field name. Fine. So now you can see we are joining two different table data and we are returning. Okay. So patient detail is also there and appointment detail is also there. And this return. Okay. And we have to provide the array which we got. So list I will say over here return. Fine. So now you can see we have an API to create new appointment and we have an API to get all the appointment. Now, just like this, we will need API to just get the appointment which are not done, right? So for that, we will need one more API, or we can, what do we say, modify the single, we can write that code over here also, but just to make it proper and understandable to everyone, I'm creating one more API. Get new appointment. Fine. Now over here, we need to write the where clause. So after appointment, where appointment dot is done equal to false. So now here I'm getting the appointment where is done is false. Here I'm not adding any flag, right? Again, we can make it this dynamic also. We can add a parameter is done or not, and whatever the parameter we get, we can place it over here. But just to keep things simple, I'm making like this. Now we need one more API, get done appointment. So this API is responsible to get the API, get the appointment which are done. Okay, so here I will say true. But what we did, we created a create new API only. And here we are passing static false. But we need one more API, na? Where we can see like appointment is done. So we need one more API to change the status of the appointment. So that can be get method or the post method also. So let's make it post public Let me just copy paste. I don't want to write again and again. You don't have to copy paste because I have a very limited time to create this. So that's why I'm doing the copy paste. Change status. Okay. So this is the post API. And here we will need, instead of post, now we will make it get only, because what ID only we are going to pass and we are just going to make it true, right? So instead of object, we will get int appointment ID. Fine. Now, here what we need to write, we are going to update the record from the appointment table. So first we need to get the record. Data is equal to underscore context dot appointments dot single or default. Since we got the primary key over here, m equal to, by what we are going to compare, with appointment ID. Appointment ID equal to appointment ID, whatever the parameter we will get, that we will match it over here. And over here, whenever we read the data from the single or default, we should always add a null check. But again, I don't want to make it complicated. So considering, because most of the people are in my channel are from React and the Angular background, so I just have to keep it very simple. If you are a proper .NET person, you already know we have to add a null check and like that. Fine. So you do that. But for Angular and the React guys, this is the basic API I'm writing. Now, so over here, we will get the whole data. And from that is done. This property I need to change. So to true. So this is what we are doing, update thing. And then context dot save changes we need to write. So here you can see it is giving warning like can be null. Okay. So return data. Okay. So this is an API which is going to change the status of the application appointment. Fine. So these are the various APIs we have need. Again, one more API we need, that is we might need a list. We might need to show the list of my patient also. So we will need a simple get API to return all the list of the patient. So let's copy. Here it will be get all patients. So this way, this API will return all the patient data, nothing related to the appointment, just the patient data. So what I can do, where list is equal to underscore context dot patient dot to list. I need all the patient data and I will simply return it. We don't need these save changes. Got it? So these are the APIs which we are going to need. So this API is responsible to create the new appointment. If patient is already there, it won't create a new patient. If it is new patient, it will create. Then get all patient API to get all the patient data. Change status to make the appointment done. Get done appointment, get new appointment, and this API is responsible to show all the appointments. Fine. So these are the very basic APIs which we are going to need. Now we can start on the Angular part. There only we will test. No need to test API separately. We will write the Angular part and there only we will test it. Fine. So let's start the Angular part. So let's start with the Angular part. So I have created a project. So how do we create a project? Like simple ng new, then project name. So I have given name as doctor appointment app. Then I have installed Bootstrap and the font awesome. Once you means first you have to complete the project installation. Once the project installation is done, then you can install Bootstrap and the font awesome if you are going to use icons. So I have done that. Once you install the Bootstrap and the font awesome in your package.json, entry will be automatically added over here. After that, in angular.json, you need to add the link of the Bootstrap and the font awesome in style array. Then only you can use Bootstrap in overall your application. Fine. Now, so this is the only basic project I have created. Nothing else apart from installing the Bootstrap and the font awesome. Fine. Guys, I know like some of you are comfortable more in Hindi, but I need to cover not just India, all over the world. People are watching my videos, so I need to stick to English. Even though be comfortable with English, because if you are going to work in IT industry, you know, like you have to understand in English at least. So start with me, try to understand. I will be going slow. Okay, fine. Now, so the basic project I have created. Again, I won't be covering like what things are there. We will jump directly to the project. Fine. So in app folder, we get a by default app component created. Now It's a small application still. A folder structure we have to follow. So in app folder, I will be creating a folder which I will name pages or component, whatever the folder name you have to give. I need to create all the components whichever I'm going to need in this particular folder. So let's open a new terminal. Now, if we see the project idea, it's very simple, right? We are going to have an appointment form. We have to show the list of the appointment and we have to show the list of the patient. But as this is an application, obviously a login page will be needed, right? Or uh, means we don't have a user table because a particular hospital is going to use this application. So we can have a hardcode login, right? So we are going to need a login page. And after login, we will have a dashboard where we can see like total number of patient today, done patient, remaining patient, something dashboard kind of API will be there, right? So dashboard UI will be needing then and the remaining three components which we discussed. So let's create the component first. And one more, this is going to be a admin kind of application. So whenever we say admin kind of application, we need by default login page will be visible. And after login, we will have that navbar and everything. So for achieving this structure, we need an extra component, which will be a parent component after the login. So ng generate component, that parent component will, name I'm giving as layout. So this is the first component, then login component. Then we will need new appointment component. So this is the component where we are going to have the form. Then we are going to need a component where we will show the list of the appointment. Here we will show the list of the appointment. We will have the filter also at the top to filter like new, done, like that. Then we will need one more component for patient list. Fine. So these are the spelling mistake is there. These are the components we are going to need. See, if you are a fresher or the experienced now, whenever we work on a project, our something should be very clear in our mind. Whenever we create the component, how many components you need? Because see, as I said, like multiple times, like currently interviews are very strange. They are not just asking like what is question, like what is this, what is this. They are trying to check, are you really ready to work as a software developer or not? Sometimes they are just giving you the scenario also. Now, by providing the scenario, they might just ask you how many components you might be needing, right? So just imagine like whenever you are practicing or if you are in the interview sessions also now. So just have a what do we say exercise of this also. Create some project ideas. Take the help of ChatGPT and by checking that project idea, try to devise how many components you are going to need. These are questions are also facing now. Okay. Now we have created component, right? After that, we need to create routes. So we have approut.ts. This is with Angular 19 with standalone. So we got constant file for the routes. Now over here, as I said, this is a single, this is going to be an admin application. So when we say admin application, we need, or even if it's an admin application or a website, we need a default page. So default page, default route, we will create first. Path, it will be empty. Then redirect to, we will redirect to login. Then path match strategy, we need to specify. Full match, full path we need to match. Then path again here you can create our login route. Means without login, only one route will be there which user can access. That is the login component, login component. Then here we will need one more path. Here you can keep empty also, or you can provide some path name also over. But normally I go with empties because in the URL redirection, again, we have to provide admin slash dashboard admin slash like that. But instead of doing that, you can keep empty and just the route name. Here component will be my layout component. As I said, after login, this is going to be my parent component. So for that, layout component will be there. And all the components which we are going to access after the login will be children to this layout component route. So over here, all the routes after the login we will create over here. So first say, let's say dashboard. I think we didn't create the dashboard component. So let's say appointment list. hyphen list component appointment list component. Just like this, we will need remaining three component routes. New appointment and patient list. And the component will be patient list component. Fine. So whenever we work on an admin kind of application, remember this kind of a routing structure you need. Without this also you can manage, but again, like somewhere it might break or so many scenarios also we have to cover. But whenever if it's a website application, all the routes can be in a parent level only. But if it's an admin application, by default, we just want to show the login page. Once we log in, then we have to show the navbar and everything. So that structure we can manage very easily if we follow this routing structure. Fine. So our routing is done. Now, by default, our login page will be there. Now let's run the application. Let's open a new terminal. NGS. Since I'm running this project locally, API is also going to be running locally. In my program.cs, I have allowed 4200 port only, so I don't need to run my application on some different port. Fine. Let's try to open this. Localhost 4200. So by default, login page should be visible. See, login is also coming, but this is also coming because in our app component, we get this basic structure, right? So let's get rid of it. So in my app component, I will just have a router outlet, nothing else. So now if I save, we will get the login work component rendering. Now, so in previous video, I have already explained one of the tool that is Bolt AI. So I don't know, like if you are new to this. So Bolt AI is a AI tool which is only specific to React, Angular, or Vue. It can provide you a very proper UI designing. If this AI tool, if you are working and you know Figma, right? We get prototype in Figma or the Adobe. So if you put that image over here, now it will create you the exact same design, whatever the technology you say. So all UI, if you say I just need with HTML, CSS, or you with Bootstrap, Tailwind, Material, whatever the technology you say, it will create the exact UI what you need. Okay, the UI which you might needed to at least 5 to 6 days to complete that UI, it can create in a 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so what we need normally I use that normally I search login page, but I wanted to explain this also, like how do we use AI tool to create our UI also. Now we need a login page, right? So let's try providing the prompt. I need a login page. We need to specify the technology also with HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. This is very basic. So if you provide this, it will provide you very basic login page. Let's say if you need some animation or something, so you can specify that also. Add some page load animation. What else we can do? Add some icons also. Let's try. By default, I think default engine is with React. So again, we need to specify that just provide the HTML code. So again, it will rewrite. So you can see TSX. So we get it create the React project, and in that it will provide you. This is the React code. But if you specify while providing the prompt, like I need it in Angular, so it will create the Angular project. Let it load. So once it is done, so npm install is going on. Once it is done, here only you can check the preview also. Again, one more thing, if you are using AI tool, be very, what do we say? Pay attention, because if you are for every small thing, if you are using AI, ultimately you are going in a very big trouble, because not everything we can learn from AI. Debugging we cannot do with AI. If the project is new, right? Obviously AI is more helpful. But if it's not every time, like whenever you join a company, you get a new project. So many projects are there which are already running and you have to work over there. So their AI tools are not helpful because you have to debug and you have to check everything. But if your habit is like that, that for every work you are using AI tool, then you won't be able to work properly when the existing project is there. And even if you are a fresher, just use AI tool whenever you get stuck or you need an idea or you need to learn something new. But for everything you are, if you are using the AI, then you are not going to clear interviews. You also think it properly, you will understand. Okay. Is it done? Yeah. So see, now tell me like if this UI page, I said like if it's a machine test and someone pass you this image, how much time you need without internet help to design this page, right? So much time you need. But see, within 2 minutes we have got this page. But again, like the code we have got it in the React. So I needed this in the HTML. So I can again provide the prompt. I need this in HTML page. I'm not sure like other tools might be so many other tools are there, but I like this because I have compared so many different AI. The UI which Bolt provide now very unique and trendy design it provides. Okay, so that's why I prefer this. If you, I think some more tools are also there which provide, but some are paid and again with limited prompt you can use this for free. Fine. Is it done? Yeah. So now we need the CSS. So let's copy the CSS first. Mhm. So the CSS it has provided. Okay, so these are the CSS. CSS will go into my login.css component. Then we need the HTML. Let's get the HTML. Let's save. Now let's check if the same login is. Okay, so now you see that login page is coming properly, but somewhat it is not exactly as it is. The reason is we said we need it is as a HTML page. So what he has done, considering body or body, where is the body? See, it has considering as a HTML page, but now in our component, we don't have a body. So for that, what you can do above this div, you can add a parent div and move your content, whole content inside this div. And whatever the CSS class we had for the body that you will replace with your parent class. So this you will replace with parent. Now, if I save, see, again, some icons are not coming. So icon for icon, it might be using something else. Where is the icon it is using? Mm, So we are using boot in our project. We have boot font or some icon, but here it can be, it might be using something else. Let's add class user. Let's say. Hmm. Okay, so let it be. I don't want to waste time on the icon. Okay, so see whatever the login page it has created, it is properly working in our Angular application also. Now, so as I said, we are going to use a static login. So when we say static or the hardcode login, in the component only we will create the object, whatever as per our need, and for basic if and else we will write the code. So user object colon any. I'm going with any just because I need to complete this whole application quickly. Again, we can create class or interface also. If you already know it, you just create class or interface. Never we have to use any. Fine. But just to keep the video length minimum, I'm going with any. Now, username colon empty, then password colon empty. Fine. We are going to use template forms over here. We need to import forms module. Then this object we need to bind to our login form. Over here, square bracket, round bracket, ng, model is equal to user object dot. So this thing is going to be common. So let's copy paste so that we will save some of our time. Then username, it will go over here and here we need password. Again, we are using ng model inside a form tag. So name attribute become mandatory. So let's add it also. Otherwise we will get that error. And same field name you need to bind it over here. Okay, then we don't need this remember me and everything. So let's get rid of it. We don't need this also. Let's save and check if we have any console error or not. As a UI developer, your console should be on every time, right? We are not testers. So many, I have seen so many developer who don't keep this and try to see like what went wrong. Keep your console always on. You might see what are the errors and everything is correct or not. Fine. Now, so as I said, hard code login. So instead of type submit, let's go with button. Let's write a click event on login function. Make your function name and the variable name also very descriptive. That is the first rule of programming, so that others also can understand your code. Because let's say a project started, you are not going to be there till the end. You are going to leave. Some other developer is going to join that project, so he should understand. Or even you also going to work for another project, right? So if other developer has provided the variables and the function name properly, then only you can understand the code. Fine. So it's very important to provide descriptive function and the variable name. Now over here, we just need to write the hard code login. So when we say hard code login, we are just hard coding the credential over here. So if user object dot username, if username is provided as equal to let's say admin, and both the things we need to match, username and the password also. So this dot user object dot password is equal to let's say 223344. So if user provide this credential, then only we will allow him to log in. So we are going to log in means we have to navigate him to inside the application. So for that we are going to need router. So router object we are going to need. Router is equal to inject. What we have to inject? Our router service. Then this dot router dot navigate by URL. So we have two methods to navigate. Either navigate or navigate by URL. Navigate needs array, navigate by URL, just the string parameter. Okay. Both has a specific use case. So once user log in, we will navigate him to the appointment list. So this is the route. Fine. And else, if user didn't provide this proper credential, we will show alert warning like wrong credential or something. Fine. Let's just test it. First, we will go with the wrong credential. So see, wrong credential we have got. Now let's try the correct credential, admin 223344. If I click on sign in, just pay attention over here. Login is there. If I log in, see it is navigating to appointment list. But in the URL, we have appointment list. But in the browser, you can see layout component is getting loaded. That's because our routing structure is like that. Because appointment list is going to be rendered in a layout component, right? Because layout component is the parent. So in layout component, you need a router outlet. Then only this appointment component will render. So now here we need the navbar. Let's get the bootstrap navbar. Again, I am copy pasting, but you should not. If you are in the learning phase, make sure you have a habit of creating navbar also. We don't know, like in some interviews, they are asking you to create the navbar also. It's a simple read. Simple navbar is there, but just some classes name you need to remember. Okay, so if you have a habit of writing that, then only you will be able to write it. Okay, I'm just using this one. Navbar, edit as HTML, copy. So our navbar should be in our layout component. Let's get rid of this style. Just removing some unnecessary code. After navbar, you need router outlet. So here's the question, like, why do we need router outlet? So router outlet is a directory which has a responsibility to load activated route component. So this is the definition everyone is looking. Okay. Router outlet. Fine. Now if we just save, now you can see appointment list component is properly working because we have added a router outlet, not because we have added a navbar. Just because we have added a router outlet, that's why it is coming. Fine. Now, so in the current, we just have three component, right? Patient list, appointment list, and the appointment, new appointment. So here we can add a link for those. Again, if whatever the things you are going to use from Angular, you import that and you use it. So we are going to use router link. So let's import it also. Then instead of href, we use router link slash, let's say appointment list. So whatever the route name we have, let's provide it over there. Let's copy paste. New appointment. Whenever you are submitting the machine test, now make sure you use icons and everything, because don't miss a single chance to make that application very industry ready, right? Companies are very choosy now. Those who know everything, they are hiring only to them. What is the route name? List only, no? Everyone is going to complete the whatever the task they say, but what makes you apart, right? That is important. So use some icons, make your application very proper, show loaders wherever it is required, right? Ask for the confirmation in case of delete. Everything you can do. Now let's try if the navigation is working. So if I click on new appointment list, if I click on new, something is wrong. Let's check. So see, it is saying cannot match any route. And what's the route it is not able to find? See, I think we have added extra single quote over here. So that's why it is not able to find. If I remove this, that's what I said. Every time your console should be on. If I click on new, now it is able to navigate. Fine. Now, so obviously first thing from the new appointment, we will be starting. Okay. So here we need that form. Now let's try, instead of asking Bolt AI, now I will be designing my own form. So what's the model? In this project, I have not implemented Swagger, so we cannot see that JSON format data, but we have the model over here. So let's see the model. So this is the model what we need. Patient ID is a primary key. So we need patient name, email, mobile number, city, and these things. So I will just create a normal HTML page for it. So this is the form. So I will be using a card so that at least something proper will be visible. Call 12. Now here we need, after this, now again, I will create a row. Some heading we will put it at the end. So now we need the form. Okay. So call 12. Inside that we need a card header, appointment. After card, we need card body. Now inside card body, we are going to design our form. So again, row column structure I will need. Call, let's say call 4. Now, if you see the model, obviously if someone passes you like this is my object or JSON and design a form. So obviously it's an appointment booking application. So always you will start with patient detail first, right? So patient detail email, based on the field, based on the things we will design. So label, patient name, then we need a text box. So input. Since we are using Bootstrap, so form control class we will add. Let's copy after. So see, whenever you are designing a form also now, we create applications so that user can use those application very properly, and application UI should be very user friendly, right? So if you follow some proper UI guidelines, if you have a form like this, a patient name should be in a single row and it should have a 4 or something measure. After that, remaining fields come at the bottom. So here I can say 3. What do we have next? Email and the phone number, right? So email, then after that call 3, one more call 3, and here mobile number. Okay. So two rows completed. After that, I will need one more row. What else we have? City and the address. Fine. So here I will have city and address. So obviously address can be long one. So instead of text, we will use our text area. So here, instead of this, we will need text area. Again, class will be needing over here. Okay. So now we have appointment date. So let's just save and check first UI. Okay. So now we got the UI. Let's add some color, or instead of call 12, now let's go with call 8, and let's add a BG warning color. Fine. So we have this form. If you see this form, this is an appointment booking form. As I said, consider an application. Again, remember the context. We are creating an application for a particular doctor who is going to use this application for the booking. So, and if it's a normal small hospital, so he's not going to do the future booking. So, do we need a very do you need a, what do we say, that date picker to select the appointment, or that current date by default we can send, right? So imagine this, like you are going to use this application. Why you are asking user to select the date? You know that this page you are going to use for today's booking only. So why you need that date picker again? We cannot ask user unnecessary to provide some values. Either what we can do, we can have a date already selected, or we can not show that date also when you creating the appointment. By default, it is going to, we can pass the new date from the object, right? So we can have that also date picker or not also. Okay, but just I'm explaining this, but let's have that date picker also. So after this, let's add a date picker at the end. I hope you got that scenario what I wanted to explain. So appoint date. Instead of text, it will be date because we need the date selection. Fine. After this row, we will need that save and the close button. So call 6. Here we will have a button, class btn secondary. In every form, we will have two buttons at least, save and the reset, right? Just a minute. Here it we will say reset, and we will need one more button, that is create appointment. Both the buttons should be in the center. So text center, and we need some spacing from the top also. So PT3. Okay. And this button should be R instead of center. Now let it be like this. So then only UI will look proper. Okay. So now it is looking proper, but still like button, this save create button is moving very ahead. So we should have somewhere over here. So instead of 6, we can go with 3 and 3. Okay. So now button is proper. Instead of secondary, let's add a success class. Fine. So our form is ready. Now, next thing will be, yeah, we can have a image upload also we can do. But again, like I said, like I just needed to complete the whole part, .NET, API, and the Angular. That's why I skipped some of the part. Fine. So we have got our custom patient registration form, appointment booking form. Now on the click of this button, we have to integrate our API. So let's run the API project. After that, either we can create a service also, or from the component also we can make the API call, right? So, but if ideal way is like we should not write API call function into component because we want to keep our component very lightweight, right? So we should have our API call function into our service. So in app folder, I will creating a service folder. In service folder, I will be creating a single service. As application is very small, so we don't want multiple services. In a single service, we can write all our API call functions. So ng generate service, I will be giving name as a master. So in master service, I will be writing the API call function. Fine. Again, we are going to integrate the API. So from standalone component, we have got app config. So in app config, we have to add provide HTTP client method. We will add it over here. After that, you can inject our HTTP client over here, private HTTP colon HTTP client service we have added. Now we will need first API call function, create new appointment. This function is going with this function we are going to call from our component. So while calling this function, we will pass the object. So that object we will pass as accept as a parameter over here. Return this dot http dot post round bracket URL we need over here, and then object we need to pass. Let's get the URL on which port it is running. It is running on C130. So our API should be API slash. Since I don't have Sagar like this only, I need to check it. So my controller name is appointment. Let's test a method also. Get appointment. Enter. T is missing over here. Okay, so empty array we are getting currently. I don't have any records in the table. So this is going to be our URL, then our method name. So our method name, create new appointment. So you can see this is a post API. Okay, let's add the debugger over here also. So whatever the data we pass from the Angular application, how do we receive that? Let's see that also. Fine. Now this function we have created. Now we need to integrate this master service into our component. So .ts master service is equal to inject. What we are going to inject? So master service. Now, so we have to create the object of our appointment object also. So let's copy the object. I just need the fields. So appointment obj colon any. Again, I'm going with any. You have to go and create all those properties. Okay. Let me remove these things. These are the properties which we need to send to our post API. Let me just remove unnecessary things. Since I don't have the Swagger, this is like if we had a Swagger, then we could have directly copy paste those fields. So patient ID by default we need to send as a this is the primary key, so we send it as a 0 only. Then for remaining field we will initialize with empty like this. Let's copy paste. Let's format it. Again, one more thing. Whenever you provide a machine test code, now always all the pages, like what are the files you have created. If it's an HTML, CSS, or TS also, always format it properly, then only send that. Okay. Because your code should also look very clean, right? There should not be any unused variable, unused import, nothing should not be there. Fine. So we created this object. Now this object we need to bind to our form also. So again, we are going to use template forms. So forms module we need to add. So this object, let's open it side by side. So if you see, we don't have form tag over here. So it's not mandatory to bind that ng model name attribute. Okay. So and if you are using ng model inside a form tag, then only that name attribute becomes mandatory. So appointment object dot. So this thing is going to be common. So let's copy paste. Appointment date over here, then address over here, city over here, mobile number over here, email over here, and patient name. So primary key we are not binding over here because the by default we are going to send it as 0. And there is no point to show this primary key in the form also. Fine. Now on click of this create application, we need to call our API call function. So click on save. Let's create this function. Now over here, this dot master service dot currently we just have one function. We need to pass the object. So this dot Appointment object we will pass subscribe call. What type of data we are passing? Return. Okay, so you can see we are playing with the status code. Fine. So we will need result colon any success callback. Let's add a debugger, or let's show the alert only. Appointment created success. Let's add a debugger over here. And in subscribe also, we will add a debugger. Let's test it now. So in the backend also, we have added the debugger. So whatever the object we are passing, that we will get to know over here. Fine. Let's try now. So let's say patient name, I'm entering my detail. chetan@gmail.com. Mobile number, city Pune. Let's say I need the today's appointment, 22. Let's inspect. Now on click of create appointment, see our function got triggered. And if you hover on this object, whatever the data you filled into the form, that data you have got in the object apart from patient ID. Patient ID we have hard coded as 0, so that is there. Once I continue, now you need to debug this function also. So what you can do, move your mouse over here. Now this function is coming from where? So that will be visible in this pop-up. If you click over here, it will navigate over here. Add a debugger over here also. So once you continue, you will get it over here in the object. You are getting the object, whatever the data you are passing from your component. And finally, from here, you are making the API call. Continue. We got error. No, it's pending. So here we got the debugger. See, debugger got activated. Now, if you see the object, see whatever the data you pass from the Angular application that we have received as a parameter over here in the API. Now, the first line, we are checking if whatever this mobile number record is there in the patient list or not. Means in my table, do I previously have this mobile number or not? That I am checking. So we don't have any record in the patient table. So obviously we will get null over here. See, we got null. If it is null, means this is a new patient. So first we will insert the data into the patient table. See, if you check the new patient, now we got the patient ID is 1, means data got inserted. Let me show you the patient table also. So if I open this, select, that is taking time. See, patient got created. Okay. Now the whatever the patient ID we created, that patient ID we are passing in the appointment table, right? So now once I continue, let me show you this also. Appointment. So currently in the appointment table, we don't have any record. Let it open. It is hanging. Okay, so see, currently I don't have any record in the appointment table. Now, once I execute this, let's reload this again. So see, now I have the data over here, patient ID 1. While inserting the data, I didn't send the field. So the by default null value is there. Fine. So our API call was success. So 200 is there. But why alert is not there? You added the alert, right? Why alert is not there? Anyway, let's try to create one more record with this same detail. But now patient is already there, right? Let's say he wants the appointment for tomorrow also. If I click on create new, now here we will get the data because just now we have created the patient, right? So if we see in the patient data, we got the detail. Currently patient is this patient with this mobile number just we created. So it is exist. So here we got the data. This is not null. So now it will go to the else block. And in else block from is patient exists, we are using the patient ID 1. So this was a small check we have added. Continue. Why alert is not coming, but over here? It is not going inside this or what? Sources. We have the alert. Is anything wrong over here? Why alert is not getting triggered? Let's add the error block also. Let's say where it is going. Fine. Let's try with another record. Rahul@gmail.com. Mumbai. Appointment date. He needs today's appointment. Create appointment. Continue. 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 Here we got the data. Why it is going in error? Status is 200, but why it is going in error block? .NET people, what I'm doing wrong over here? Return okay only, no? We do normally. Action result. And return okay. Anyone from .NET? What I am doing wrong over here? Why it is not going in success? Return okay. Instead of okay. Created. Here the object. So same object I will pass in return also. Let's try as this return track. Created will get us 201 status, I think. Again, like my knowledge with API is very limited. Like previously only I used to work with .NET, but in the industry I only work with Angular and React. So just for the YouTube purpose, I use .NET now. Let's try now. If I click on create application again, continue, continue. Now Rahul record is already there, so it will go to the else block. Continue. Now it got into success. But why with okay it got into the error block? Okay, let it go. So we are able to create the appointment. Now appointment is created. Now, as I said, mobile number is unique, right? So if user is providing mobile number, okay. So we will, what we are going to do, this mobile number, we are moving to the top. Why? I will explain. So let's mobile number to the top. I will move mobile number over here and name over here. So what I need to do, if user provides the mobile number, and if that's, let's say I provided mobile number like this, and once I click away, I need to hit an API call with this mobile number. And if the data for this mobile number already exists, I need to pre-populate this 4 field of data. Okay. So in so many applications, we have this scenario where you provide something data and it will trigger the API and it will check if the data is already there. It will pre-fetch the data and populate over here. Okay. If it is not there, user will enter because that attendant will also get to know like this is an old patient, right? So for this, we will need an API which will have a parameter and we will pass the mobile number. And if the mobile number it is already there, we will send it back and that data we need to populate over here. Okay. So let's write the API also for that. That's why I said that mobile number is something unique. Okay. So let me just copy paste. So we are going to need a API which will have a parameter where we will pass the mobile number. Fine. Get patient by mobile number. Let's change the method name also. Here instead of integer, we are going to receive string type of data. Mobile. Now from patient, we need to find the data, not from the appointment because patient data we have on the another table where mobile number is equal to whatever the parameter we get. And here we will add a null check. So if data is there, not equal to null, we will return the data. Return OK along with data. Fine. And if data is not there, means the whatever the mobile number we pass, it is not there. So it will go to the else block and we will say return OK, but with an empty message. Or not found is there. Not found. Yeah, not found. So our error block should execute. Fine. So what this API purpose? Whatever the mobile number you pass, if that mobile number is exist in our patient table, it will return the data. Otherwise, it will say not found. Fine. Now this API call we need to trigger once user done entering the mobile number. Fine. So now once user enters, user has provided the mobile number completely. After that, we need to make the API call. So for that, we will use change function. So once change or blur, whatever the function you can use. So change, check, move, check, patient, or get patient info. That will be more sense. Get patient info. Fine. Let's create this function. We need to create the API call into our service also. Let's write the API call into our service. Let me just copy paste. This will be get API call. This will be search, first search patient by mobile. Now the URL will be this, and we need to pass the parameter question mark. Our parameter name is mobile equal to, remove this, plus whatever the mobile number we will get as a parameter. Fine. And this we will pass it over here. So our URL will be dynamic. Fine. Now this function we need to call over here. So this dot master service dot this function we need to call. And here we will pass the parameter, which is mobile number. So mobile number means our object. This dot our patient object dot mobile number, because this only we have binded to the form also. Then dot subscribe result colon any. This is success. And if mobile number is not found, our error block will execute. So here we can show alert block saying this is new customer. And if mobile number is there, means we got the customer record. So whatever the data we got from the patient detail, that we need to populate into our object. So appointment object dot patient name we will get is equal to res, whatever the response we get. Patient name over here, just like that, we will copy paste. So email. NG model also we can use, but for whenever we change the value, when on every keyboard value change, it will trigger. But we don't want to trigger API call unless user provided all the 10 characters, right? So for that, I'm using the change event. You can use NG model also. Again, you need to add the length check over here. If it is 10, then only you will trigger the API call. Fine, city is done, address. Let's test this. Okay. What's the mobile number we have? Patient, we had two records. Na Rahul also got. Why Chetan is only coming over here? Okay, let's try it again. Let's open the. Let's add a debugger over here also. Now, if I enter and once I click away, then my API call function should be there. See, it is pending. So over here we got the mobile number. So now we are checking if the mobile number is there or not. So we got the mobile number. This data is not null. So here we are returning the data. Continue. We got the data and that data got populated over here, right? Now, here is a defect or a scenario will break. So if I type the number which is already there, and if I after typing I got the data, and if I remove some number over here 4 4, okay, outside, now this mobile number is not there, right? Data is null, so it will return not found. Now my error block will be there, but my form didn't get clear, right? Previous data we didn't clear. So what we need to do, this is kind of a defect or a scenario testing should be there. So either you can reset this object over here, that's the place, or in the error also you can reset. So this thing you need to again reinitialize over here. So previous data will get cleared like this. Okay, save. So this is also a kind of a defect you should get. Fine. So appointment creation is done. Now we have to show the appointment list. So in the appointment list table, we have to show. Now for showing the appointment list, either we can just use the table or based on the application. Sometimes table is very useful when we have to show so much of data. But if the data is very small, let's say 2 3 field or 5 4 5 fields are there. So we should always go for a card design because that is very trendy and we have a small information. So we can show that small information in the cards very properly. Let's go to card. So this card design I'm going to use. Okay, so in the service, we need to write the API call also first. Get all appointment. So our function name will be get all appointment. Let's quickly write the all API call function as well. We have two more API call function. Get all appointment. This API is responsible to get all the appointment. If I just the new appointment, so I have a dedicated API call for that. Then if I just need the done appointment, so just for the filtering purpose, instead of creating multiple API, now we can have a API created with a filter also. Okay, that is also fine. Now we have created three API call function. Now into our appointment list. So here, let's use the UI. Let's create a row dot call 3. So now in call 3, here we have this call 3, we have to repeat like whatever the appointments we have got here, we are going to show. Now in .ts, first we need to integrate our service. So master service is equal to inject. We have to inject our again master service. Get all appointment. So this dot master service dot get all appointments. So by default, we will call an API to get all the appointment. Then we will have the button also to filter. First, we will just integrate this one. Now, whatever the data we get, that we need to store it also. So let's create a variable. So this dot appointment list is equal to res. Fine. Just like this, we will need two more function also. Get instead of all, we will say new appointment. Get new appointment. Get done appointments. Fine. All the three API calls are there, but data will be storing into this single variable only. Now this we have to iterate over here. So at the rate for loop, it's not suggesting. Okay, this column repeated thing we have to put it inside the for loop. Now here we have to show the patient name. So item dot what data we are getting, patient name we are getting. Then here we can say here we can show the mobile number. After that, we can show city also. Whatever information, it's not like whatever the data you are getting from the API, all we need to show. Limited information also we can show. And here, again, just to, what do we say? We have one more functionality, right? We should be able to change the status. We should be able to mark the appointment as done, right? So for that, we will need a button. So here we don't need to show anything. So instead of this href, we will, let's add a button class btn warning btn sm. So here we will say mark done. Okay. So on this button click, we are going to call our that change status API. Let's remove this href. Let's just save and check if we are able to show the applications. Wait, something is wrong. My API call is not there, or what is happening? Ah, sorry. So we have just created the function. On the page load, we need to call it also now. So implement on init ng on init. We will call this function on the page load. So by default, we are loading all the appointments. Okay. Let's save. Fine. So you can see, oh, name we didn't change. I think say for same record, we have added 4 different appointment. Let's create new appointment again. Rahul. This is a new customer. Okay. See, one more defect we got. See what is happening. So what is happening? What we did, once I provide the mobile number, and if mobile number is not there in that search component, what we did, we reinitialize the whole object, right? So that is breaking our code. So what we need to do, we don't want to empty this mobile number, right? So instead of reinitializing this whole object, particular field, we need to reinitialize. So instead of this patient ID, we don't need to do it. So just patient name, we need to reinitialize. See, this is also what we thought got it create another defect now. Is equal to empty. Fine. Now it should be work fine. No, still it is breaking. UI didn't refresh or what? A mobile number we are emptying. We don't want to enter the mobile number. So just remaining 4 fields I'm making empty. 9988888877. So this mobile number is not there. Okay, so still it is there. Let's say Rahul @gmail.com, city Mumbai, address something. Let's say he has the appointment for today only. Create appointment, continue. Let's remove the debugger from over here. Fine, appointment created successfully. If I go to the appointment, now I can see the Rahul appointment also, right? So we are able to show the appointments whatever created. Now again we have 2 more API to just filter this, right? So again, if you see the card, all the cards are looking same. How do I know like this appointment is done, this appointment is not done, right? So either we can have a status shown also. Are we returning the status? So from API, yeah. So we are returning like appointment is done or not. So this flag we will use it. Where is the appointment list? Let's add a p tag again. Class card text. So here item dot is done. So in is done property, we are getting true or false, but we cannot print true or false, right? So we can use ternary operator over here, this or this. If this flag is true, it is like done. or this appointment is new. Save. So currently all will be new only. Again, we can add a check. Like if it is new, we will add some background color to this card. And if it is done, we will add some another background color. So for that, this property, we will use it over here, card, body or card only, right? So we can make use of ng class also. But again, if we have to use ng class, we need to import. So we will use just the property binding. So if this flag is new, then I will add this class, otherwise this class. So card uh, BG, let's say success for new and BG secondary for old. So if this flag is true, means this is done. So we are adding this class. If it is new, we are adding secondary class. So by default, all will be secondary only. This is secondary means this is false, means this appointment is new. Okay. Now, on click of this mark done, we have to call another API. So that is change status. So change status is a GET API only. We just need to pass the appointment ID as a parameter. Fine. So in our service, let's write the API call quickly. So API call will be like this with the parameter change status appointment ID. Let's get the method name change status and our parameter name is appointment ID. Whatever the appointment ID we will get, that we will pass it as a parameter. Now on click of this button, we are going to call a function. So click mark done or on mark done. Fine. Let's create this function. Filtering thing is still remaining. We will do it. Master service dot change status. And when we are calling the function, which appointment you want to mark it as done. So that ID you need to pass. So item dot, what's the field name? Appointment ID in the list API. This we will pass it as a parameter. That parameter we will catch it over here. What it is saying. Okay. So see, when we created this function, here we have added the parameter as string, and while passing, here we have stated as number. So it will create a conflict, right? If I say string, then it is working fine. And once it is done, again, we will call this API. Fine. So this function again, I'm passing. Let's save. Let's add a debugger over here also. Again, I didn't created some unique appointment number also. If you visit the hospital every day, your counter start from 1, 2, 3, 4 or something. No? So that also when you create the appointment, some unique number you can create, like kind of like a token number. Okay. So that functionality I forgot to add. Let's check our mark done thing now. Fine. Let's say Rahul appointment, I want to mark it as done. So if I click on mark done, see, appointment ID, I got 5. First we are getting the record for that particular ID. We got the record. By default, this property is done property is false, right? That I'm making it to true. And then again, I'm using save changes. It's like update query. Continue. See, done. Okay, even if I refresh, you will see the same thing, right? So mark then is done. Now above the table, we just need the filter also. So what we will do, now we have 3 mode, all, new and the done appointment. So in the bootstrap, we have some unique design for this. Here is that button group. Okay. So this is the kind of thing we are going to use. So let's copy this. At the top, we will have the filters. Okay. Let's make it center only. Now what we need to do, we are going to have three buttons over here. All, new, and done. Fine. So now if I click on all appointment should be visible. If I click on new, only new appointment should be visible. And on click of down, only done appointment should be visible. Right. So for that, we need to respectively call our API. Fine. So click. We have different function also. So we just need to call it. Get all appointment. We'll go over here. Then new one will go over here. And done one. Instead of creating three different API call, we should have a single API where I can pass some object also. Again, some filter also I can check if I have to search by customer, sorry, name of the patient and something. See, right? Only new appointment. If I click on done, all everything is working. Again, something is missing. If I'm clicking somewhere, this button should also get highlighted, right? So for that also we can create a variable and hide and show that, sorry, add a dynamic class. Active button name data type colon string. By default, we will say all. Okay. Now this button, we will use it over here to add a dynamic class. So square bracket class, if button title is equal to all, then we will add this class, otherwise this class. So if it is active button, we will say success over here. Otherwise, button primary class we will add. Let's copy. Now, see, on every function, every button, we are calling this function. So we just need to change the value of this variable. So if it is button, new, and done. So we just need to change the variable value also in respective function. All over here, this will be new, done. Let's save. Now that highlight thing also will be implemented. So see, by default, all is available. If I click on new, got it? So these are very small things. Again, like padding, we need to add because cards are very aligned. So over here, PT2, we will add. Why it is PT2, PT2, fine. So now we have some spacing also, right? So this is how we have completed our whole application. Means from creating database, writing APIs, completing integrating those API into our Angular application. Again, based on that mobile number, we have done that autocomplete kind of thing also, right? And again, patient list is a simple get API. You can just call this get patient list and you just have to showcase the data. For patient list, you can use the table because it's a very straightforward data you have to show. Fine. Let me just allow you to unmute, then we can go with the questions. Yeah, you can unmute now. Everyone understood what we saw? Yeah, anyone having any question?
Hello. Hi.
Yeah, Ambika.
Can you please explain the route purpose? You have added the routing there. Can you please repeat this?
Where? Routing?
Yeah, yes. Routing. Yeah, yes. Here in 20 line, this is in children added. So
Right.
yeah.
See, in our application, we have two times router outlet. In app component also, we have router outlet. In layout also, we are going to have the router outlet. Right? So when we log in, we are going to navigate. By default, I just need to show the login page. Okay. I don't need to showcase this navbar and everything. Once user log in, then only my navbar should be visible. To achieve this kind of structure means once user log in, see, once user log in, only login page is visible. We don't have navbar here, right? To achieve this kind of structure, we have to go for a routing structure like this, where these are your parents routes, meaning without login, you are going to access this component. Okay. Once user logged in, then your layout component is going to be your parent component. By default, your app component is your parent component, correct? But once you navigate after navigation, we are saying that consider layout as my parent component. Okay. And in layout, these are the childrens I have. So for all the children, this is my parent component. And in layout component, I have the navbar. And after the navbar, I have the router outlet also. So router outlet will help you to render the activated component. Whatever the current activated route is there, now that component it will render over here. So if your application is admin kind of application, then only you will need routing structure like this.
And AuthGuard, when we use in this case,
To
how?
restrict, see, if even if I'm not logged in, I will be able to log in because we haven't written the code to restrict that, right? So to restrict that, we have to implement the AuthGuard. Okay, there we will check the logged in user. We store some data into local storage or session storage, and we check it if user is logged in or not. If it is not logged in, again we redirect back to the login.
And if we wanted to change the manually the URL, means like a route path, then it is possibility to open this particular page.
Means by writing over here like that.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Either you click on the navbar or you write it. Same thing, no?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Chaitanya, I found out.
Yeah.
Can we open the master service?
Mhm.
In master service, here provided at that inject na, provide in somewhere I saw only injectable method. There is no
Right.
express.
Provided in.
In.
This
So,
might not be there, right?
yeah,
So
that
what it
difference.
does, wherever you inject this service, now it will create a separate object of this service.
Okay.
Let's say we don't have it. So wherever
Yes.
you inject
Mhm.
in multiple component, you will have separate instance of this service, not a single that singleton object we say, na. So you
Okay.
won't get
Yeah.
that singleton object.
Yeah. If it is the root, then it will be singleton. Once it
Singleton
will.
object.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Okay. If it is not providing only at that injectable, then it will be multiple instance will
Right.
create.
Multiple instance will be there. So whatever the variable value, if you have some variable, you won't get that variable value because
That
in
means,
every component, new instance is there.
okay, suppose there are two, three components, then one component we used and another component also used. That means one time it will create the instance.
Yeah. If provided root is there, only one instance will be there. But if you don't have it now for different component, you have a different instance of master service.
Okay, in this case, for all components where it is used, only one instance
One
will be
instance will
created.
be there.
Okay,
Yes.
fine. Okay,
Yeah.
thank
Anyone else? Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks for joining. We'll be sharing this recording with compiling the .NET and everything in this week. Okay. Fine. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.